Hello guys, it is the Gaming Weasel back again with another video. In today's video we're going to be covering one of the Warframes that I misunderstood a lot, and a lot of people have been quite annoyed that I haven't covered him in the light that he deserves. He is a really good Warframe, and I do think everyone who can should get him. Now that Warframe is going to be Nidus, and I'm going to be talking about everything you need to know about him. You can get his blueprint through the quest, the Glass Gambit quest, and his parts through just missions. I don't know the certain missions, but there are a couple of missions that you can get them. They're on the screen now, and one of them is a pain in the ass. I remember that much. So getting him is decently hard sometimes. If you're lucky, it isn't. But he is a really good Warframe. Now, what is he good at? He's really good at surviving and really good at solo gameplay. So if you have a bad internet connection or just don't have any friends or just don't want to play with people, it's a really good Warframe for you. Now, the first ability, well, what we're going to be doing is talk about the abilities and showing you the build that I'm using and that I prefer you guys try out. Now, Violence is the first ability. Now, power, strength, and range matter with this one. Now, this, I guess, not fires off, but I guess spreads, larva or ground damaging fungi something in front of you in a certain range, depending on how good your range is. And it damages enemies, gets you stacks, which you're gonna be needing a lot of those stacks. And what it's going to be giving you energy back as well. That's what I wanted to say. Now, stacks are gathered by this ability, mostly this ability. Well, you can do it with a fourth, but we'll get on to that later on. This is really good because it gives you energy back, so energy is kind of covered here. Now, you're going to need to bundle up those enemies, because the more enemies you hit with this, the more, of course, the more stacks you're going to get. The more stacks you have, the more damage you do, and the more damage you do, the more energy you get back. And the more enemies you hit, the stacks go up faster. Now, how are you going to bundle these enemies up? Well, that's where his second ability comes in. It doesn't use, all these enemy or abilities don't use up that much energy, considering you do get it back. Now, duration and rage is really important with this one, and it's called larva. Now, it spawns, I guess, sort of like a larva with like squid-like tentacles that gather enemies in that center larva point, and once they gather up in there, you can actually use your violence and just damage every single enemy that is in there. So that's going to be really cool and really good for your stacks. Now, of course, as I said, duration and range matter, so range is going to be another cool thing to have here, and you are going to have that in my build, sort of. And yeah, Larva's really good ability to gather those enemies up, and range is as well. You're gonna need to gather as much enemies as you possibly can. Puristic Link. Now, this doesn't use any energy, just to keep that in mind. Mutation stacks, it uses only up 1. Now, with this, range, strength, and duration are really important. Now, the Puristic Link, what it does when you connect with friends is increase your ability strength, and theirs as well. Once you link it up to an enemy, all the damage, well, not all of it, most of the damage inflicted on you as Nidus is going to go to that enemy. So this is a really good enemy, or I guess tanking ability of Nidus. So, for example, someone damages you for 100, about 60 or 70 is going to go to that enemy. So that's really cool. Once you unlink, I guess, after that certain period, the damage will kill that enemy that was linked to you. So that's pretty cool. That ability is really good for surviving. Ravenous is the fourth ability, which costs nothing of energy and 3 stacks, just for you to know. And the strength, duration, and sort of range is really important here. Range not as much, because it doesn't really increase the range. Now, the strength, and the more stacks you have, the more damage your little maggots are gonna do. Now, what this does, the actual ability, is summon a field of ravenous maggots that just kill enemies and damage enemies nearby or in the actual field. Or, not the field, but I guess the thing that you're in. I don't know what it's called. Now, you do have health regeneration here as well, so that is another cool thing that you can just pop up and, you know, use regeneration with. So that's going to keep your health up as well. Now, My build is on the screen right now. That's the one that I'm using. Now the only difference between these two builds that I'm using and in the gameplay there's going to be seen is some of the Umbral mods are not maxed out, and that's literally the only difference. So what you can imagine is doing more damage, and that's virtually it. Nothing nothing special. So this Warframe is really good. Now the way that I prefer you play this is, if you're playing solo, just gather up as much mutation stacks as you can, because the more mutation stacks you have, the more damage you do. And using that larva as much as you can. If you do end up in higher level enemies, like 100, 150, I would do prefer you use that Puristic Link. It is gonna save you a lot, believe me, it is gonna really save you. And yeah, now it does have something called Undying, which it uses up 15 stacks or 15 mutation stacks, granting him like 5 seconds of invulnerability, so he's like invincible, and it's gonna restore 50% of his health. So that happens every time you're supposed to, fall down or I guess die. So that's another good ability of Nidus. So that is mostly going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, my name is the Gaming Weasel. This has been Nidus, the infectious disease Warframe, whatever you want to call him. And hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one. The Gaming Weasel over and out.